All right. So, and we are moving on.
Mhm.
So we are heading out of the month of May. June is fast approaching.
Yeah,
approaching.
that whole thing was just fast. Like,
Yeah, this
I
whole
feel like
month
May
was
just started.
May kind of flew by.
Yeah.
And like we said, we had a crazy month, but we are gearing up for the month of May, and we are heading into Pride Month, which is going to look a lot different this year because of all the things going on in the world. But we're going to have fun by watching some Pride themed, or what we like to call Pride themed movies. Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
So Gina has the first pick.
Yeah.
So you want to tell us what movie you picked?
So the movie that we'll be reviewing next week is a movie called Bit. It was released in 2019, and basically I chose it just because it has to do with a badass group of lesbian vampires.
Yeah,
like,
lesbian vampires.
I was so down.
Like, all right, let's go. All right. And then the week after that, we are going to be reviewing my pick, which is They, Them. This is a movie that's on Peacock that stars Kevin Bacon. And it's about a bunch of kids that go to gay camp thing, and slasher stuff starts happening. So I'm interested in seeing how it is. I've heard it's really bad, but we'll see if it's bad offensive or if it's just bad like that.
Yeah, no matter what, we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it.
Join us for the conversation.
Exactly.
Week after that, which is going to be the 17th,
Mm-hmm.
I chose your favorite movie.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. And that's Jennifer's Body.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like,
it's not explicitly
beautiful.
A queer movie.
No.
That's why I said the we're not doing all explicitly queer horror movies.
Yeah.
This one is people have claimed it. The queer community has claimed this movie.
Exactly.
They've claimed it.
And rightfully so. And I mean, for me, I feel like it is. I'll talk about it more when we go to review it, but I feel like this helped me in my own discovery.
It's a movie that we're going to have a lot to say about because, as she said, it's one of my favorite horror movies, and I'm so glad that it has had the massive resurgence that it's had, because when it came out, I was like, why doesn't anybody else like this movie? Why am I the only one that likes it? And everyone was like, it's terrible. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a masterpiece.
And it's got the best soundtrack.
The best soundtrack. Oh my God, Fueled by Ramen went hard with that soundtrack.
They really did. They pulled out all the stops, and I wish they'd do it again.
I know. All right, and then the last movie we have for the month of June, The Babadook.
Baba Slay.
And I know some people are going to be like, that's not a gay movie. Well, the gay community has claimed The Babadook as an icon, so it's a gay movie.
Clearly.
Baba Slay. And I love that movie also, so I wanted to talk about it, and I know some people are going to be like, I hate that movie, it's awful, but I'm going to tell you why I love it, and you're going to just be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can tell us why you hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So now, since the last week we uploaded 2 videos, but we didn't do anything else because we were so pressed for time, we are going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming, and we are going to do our fun topic of the week. And our fun topic of this week is the 5 best kills in any horror movie. This is our personal opinions, of course. This is not anything that we are basing off of other people. We're just picking the ones we like the best. We're going to explain what they are and why we like them, and then you can let us know what yours are, what your favorite ones are. We're going to start with our 5th favorite one and work up to our 1st favorite one. And Gina, you can kick it off.
Hey, it's a me.
It's a me.
Okay, well, I'm going to kick it off with a absolute cliche, and I guess some people may say that this was a throwaway or whatever, but hey, whatever. It was a good kill. It's a damn good kill.
It is.
And that's Georgie from It. You'll float too, and all that good stuff.
But which one? The remake?
The remake.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that one was the better one.
No, that one was like far more graphic and just like freaking awesome. Just like the whole build up to it, because I don't mean just like Georgie's kill, like I mean the whole conversation, and like that's when we're first introduced to Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, and like we get to see all of his like personal touch that he put into Pennywise, the drooling, the eyes going different directions, the characteristics of his voice and everything, and it all creates this sinister scene that still somehow feels a bit innocent because we have Georgie here, and then suddenly, you know, Georgie loses his arm, and it's like, oh, okay, we going there.
And it's very graphic too. Very graphic.
Very graphic.
Ooh,
it's so
awesome.
good.
Love it. All right. So my number 5 pick is Glenn's death in the original Nightmare on Elm Street movie, the Fountain of Blood. This was a scene that people had talked about a lot to me, being like one of the craziest scenes they'd ever seen in a horror movie at the time. And I was like, you know, I want to see what it looks like. So I watched this, when I first watched Nightmare on Elm Street, it was actually on Halloween, my senior year of high school, and I'd never seen the movie before. And that scene is so cool. Like, I know you don't actually see him like get slashed or anything, and also it's kind of like the human body does not have that much blood. No, but I just love. Cool. I love the scene. First of, I love you know, seeing him, the arms come up from the bed and grab Johnny Depp and just pull him down, and then just that rumble, and then the blood just spews up from the bed, and it just paints the ceiling, and it's raining down. I'm like, that is insane, and that was my only problem with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, was that they cut that scene out, and I was like,
which is like so iconic. I mean, we've talked about that scene for years.
It's such a good scene.
It's so good.
It's so graphic. It's so graphic without being super graphic.
Yeah.
And even like the aftermath of that, when, you know, the mom opens the door and you just see the blood dripping down, and you see like just her, and she's just screaming. Then the cop shows up, and it's like, where's the coroner? Oh, he's been puking in the John ever since he saw it. And I'm like, yeah, because you're like, what the heck is going on?
And I'm over there with him too.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's awesome. Wes Craven's a genius. That's all I have to say. Wes Craven's a genius for that one.
Bringing it back over to me, we're gonna talk about one that we did, our bad movie of the month last month. So, you know, a little shameless plug here. I had to add it. I like a good funny death.
It's amazing. Yeah. This scene is amazing.
I love me a good funny death, and that's Jason Takes Manhattan. When I'm forgetting his name. I feel so bad. But he's boxing Jason there on the roof. And
I think it's Lucius or something.
I think you're right.
Lucius.
Okay, we're going to say Lucius.
And we're wrong. Sorry.
We'll flash the right name on the screen. Yeah. I don't know. You'll come back and post and be like, oh, actually,
it's like, actually.
But Lucius is giving his all over here. I mean, it's like he's like doing a Mortal Kombat combos on him and everything.
And Jason's just letting him tire himself out.
Jason's like, you know, just like taking every hit, like, yeah. And then he finally gets too tired. He's even falling over himself. And Jason just punches his head off, and his head just goes straight in the dumpster.
It's so funny.
The whole scene with just no speaking, no music
either. You just hear the cars honking in the background. It's so funny. It's just like honk, honk, honk. As this man is boxing Jason Voorhees.
Typical Manhattan sounds, you know.
It's so funny.
It's so good. It's so good. I could watch that scene for the rest of my life. I could just put it on repeat for the rest of my life, and I'll be.
If you ever need a boost of serotonin, just watch that scene. It's hilarious.
Absolutely. And the only thing missing, they need to add in like the squeaking shoes sound.
I want to have somebody to do like that scene, but like the meme with the guys like, fight back, just him punching him, fight back. Oh goodness!
So good, so good. What's your number 4?
My number 4. So this is the kill that spawned this entire idea for me, because every time I think of like best kills in a movie, which is funny that it's not number 1. But that's because there's better ones I thought of later. It is when Christabella gets ripped in half by barbed wire in the Silent Hill movie. I know people give that movie a lot of flack, but that church scene is my favorite scene in any movie. Yeah. It's almost as good as the church scene in Kingsman. It's almost like church scene in Kingsman is the best church scene ever. But this, when the barbed wire, when Alessa rises from the ground on the hospital bed, and she strings Christabella, who is the worst, absolute worst character, up by her arms, and then the barbed wire enters her. Oh man! And then you just watch it popping out of her body, coming out of her mouth, and her like everything, and then it just rips her in half, and everything just the entrails go flying, everything goes flying, and then the dark Alessa, Jono Ferland, big ups to her. She's one of my favorite child actors. Just dancing as the blood is raining down the organs, everything's raining, just spinning around, and it is beautiful, it is wonderful, it is bloody, it is messy, and I love it, and it's absolutely a Silent Hill kill. It's a Silent Hill kill.
We gotta watch that movie again.
We
so
will.
Long since we watched it together.
I love Silent Hill. Like I love the Silent Hill franchise.
Yeah.
And I love the Silent Hill movie. I always say I just consider it like not part of the canon. Like it's its own story.
It's its own thing.
I know people are like, but the director said he was following the game perfectly, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. The director said it, and he messed it up. But if you like the movie, I mean, the movie's a good movie. If you take the game away, it's a good movie.
I mean, I could say I'm Shay, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. Exactly. You can say whatever you want, but no, the movie's fantastic. I mean, like, and that kill alone, like, I almost picked Anna getting her skin ripped off. That was that's an honorable mention for this movie, because that was insane. He just rips her skin off and throws it at Pyramid Head, just rips her skin off and throws it at them. I'm like, okay. And very Silent Hill. Like, he at least captured the essence of that. Like, if he didn't capture the story, he captured the essence of the Silent Hill kills. Because that Christabella scene is a Silent Hill kill.
Through and through.
Through and through.
Oh, man, so good.
All right, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is another funny one. The movie, so there's a movie called Holla back in the day, all-black horror movie.
There's actually one white person. No, 2 white people in that movie.
All-black horror movie, because guess what? They die first.
Yes.
So...
They flipped it on the head.
They flipped the script. They flipped the script on that one. But in Holla, we finally get to the end of the movie.
Attacking the slasher. It's a slasher movie, by the way. Some of you guys probably never heard of this movie. It's a deep cut. We found it at Blockbuster, and Blockbuster still existed.
Exactly.
And it's a slasher movie where a bunch of friends go on vacation to a cabin, and somebody follows them there and starts picking them off one by one.
Yes. Yeah. And we get to the end of the movie. The killer is revealed. Of course, I'm not going to say it right now. But you know, it's one of those situations where, like, what is it? I think they kill the killer.
Yeah, and then the final girl kills the killer.
Yes.
And the guy that we thought was dead shows up.
Yes.
The killer comes back to life.
Yeah, it comes back to life, and this guy just goes ahead and he starts shooting her in the head.
He starts shooting her in the head.
And then he just does his iconic line, "Now stay dead, bitch."
Because, he's the one that's like the hardcore gangster.
Yeah, he's the
thug.
Whole group. I didn't even think he had his gun to the side.
He had his gun to the side, yeah. He was like...
And I was just like, wow, this is me in a horror movie.
It's a great
The
kill.
scene spoke to me so much. Little Gina stuck with me today. I haven't seen that movie since the one time we saw it.
No, I haven't seen it either. Not since the time we saw it. I haven't even been able to find it anywhere. I might have to buy it off Amazon or something.
Heck yeah.
All right, so my number 3... I called this one Kid on the Pole because I can't remember the kid's name. So this is Halloween 2018, which is one of the better Halloween movies. I know we all have our opinions about kills and ends, but this movie was fantastic. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with Halloween 2018. And I love this entire scene because, first of all, you have Allison with the creepy friend, and they're walking through somebody's backyard. And he's, of course, trying to hit on Allison after her boyfriend just threw her phone in some nacho cheese, which was dumb and stupid. Hated that kid for that. So the friend's trying to hit on her. She's like, bro, I'm not in the mood. I'm having a bad night. I just want to go. She goes to leave and takes off without him as they're walking through this person's backyard. And he's, like, drunk, so he's, like, falling over himself. Then he, like, gets up and realizes that somebody's standing there, and the lights are going on and off, like the motion sensor lights are going on and off, and he thinks it's the guy that owns the house, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I'll be out of your yard in a second," but it's actually Michael, and he tries to go and escape, and he does not make it, and then Allison goes to go back for him and finds him with a pole straight through the mouth. And I was like, that was like the part, I was like, he's doing some Jason kills.
He's like, I learned this one at summer camp.
I learned this one at Camp Crystal Lake. That was the moment I was like, yeah, Michael Myers has grown up. He's grown up, because like the original Halloween, he was just like stab, choke, stab.
But now he's getting creative.
Now he's like, I can do some fun stuff. Ooh, this is cool. So I was like, and then like the kills got cooler from there, but I picked that one because that was like the first cool one.
It set the tone.
It set the tone, and the kills definitely got cooler from there. I mean, like the doctor getting his head stomped on and exploding. Even though they did this in Terrifier, the pumpkin head, they put that in there. And then even in the next movie when he takes the buzzsaw to the the firefighter.
Firefighter, yeah.
It just gets better. It just gets better.
It's good.
There's some amazing kills in the Halloween new trilogy, but like the story is buns. Except for the first one. First one's story is fantastic. All right. Number 2.
Well, you brought up Terrifier, and that just so happens to be in my number 2 slot here.
Okay.
It is, I call it the Salt in the Wound scene from Terrifier 2, which you've already read in great detail what it is, so I know I'm not spoiling anything for you.
No.
But just basically iconic scene of Art doing a little bit of trick-or-treating. You know, he's just having a good old time, and he shows up at this girl's store, and she's just like, ew, go away, loser, and won't give him any candy. And you know, without explaining the scene too much, because I have a feeling we will end up, but like, you know, she won't give him the candy. Art gets mad. Art goes ahead and graphically kills her.
just type in the bedroom scene on Google and read it if you're curious, because it's the bedroom scene. It's a scene that it was the scene that was making everybody throw up when this movie came out last year.
Yeah. But essentially what was the icing on the cake for the scene for me, because like he ruined this girl. He ruined her, and I'm like, how is she still alive? Because somehow, some way, she's still looking up at him like that. And he comes back in, and my boy's got some salt in one hand, and he's got a bottle of bleach in the other, and he goes ahead and just pours all that in there, and I'm like, not the salt in the wound, haven't you done enough? But that just right then and there, someone shows up to your house on Halloween to see you dressed as Art the Clown. Just give him some candy.
Just give him candy in general. You know, what are you going to do with the candy? What are you going to do with the candy?
What are you going to do? Why are you being stingy?
Just give him the candy.
Somebody's not a kid. Just give him the candy.
Yeah, I'm just going to give him the candy. Let him go. Let him go. You know?
Tell him to chew it over with a Twix.
Yeah.
And move on.
Exactly. Exactly. No, that's the scene though that everybody was like, they were losing their lunch over that scene.
Yeah, it's a big scene, but it's definitely like my favorite scene in the movie, rivaled by one other, but I want you to see the movie if we can get ourselves there.
Yes.
Yeah. If we can get you there, then I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
But what is your number 2?
So we're going to talk about this movie later on, but it is Jennifer's Body, and I call this the cannibal snack pack, even though she's not a cannibal. She's a succubus.
Yeah.
Let's this is actually not the scene that you might be thinking of. This is the scene where she lures Kyle Gallner's character to an abandoned house to feast on him. And first of all, I love the entire scene because they're playing Akon. I see you on that song in the background. They're playing that song throughout almost this entire scene. She is kind of picking on Kyle Gallner's character because he's a goth, but he's visibly freaked out by being in an abandoned house with rats and all this stuff. And I mean, it's not really an abandoned house. I think it's like a house that's being built. Because there's like tools and stuff around.
True.
So, and she's like, I thought you liked all this kind of creepy stuff. Like, I thought that's what you were into. And he's just like, not feeling this. Then her eyes turn white, and he's like, no way. And the scene is cut back and forth between the very awkward sex scene of Amanda Seyfried and Johnny Simmons. But it's also her realizing she has a connection. We'll talk about it. Connection with Jennifer. So she's seeing blood dropping from the ceiling and everything.
Yeah.
But focusing on Jennifer, she at one point he punctures his arm on a tool that's hanging out there. She grabs his arm and like says, "Ooh, emo, I like it," and like licks the blood, and he starts freaking out. Then she takes his arm, breaks it, and then she says the words, "I need you frightened." Her eyes turn white. She pushes him to the ground. She's like, "I need you hopeless." And she just starts ripping into him. And they don't show you her doing it. They show it all from behind a sheet. So you just see the silhouette of her jaw unhinging and just eating this kid. And he's screaming. Good. The blood is flying everywhere and he's screaming. It is so good. Mixed with the amazing soundtrack. Like in the background, I was like dying. I was like, this scene is, I remember watching it in theaters and I was like, this is art. Like, this is art. Like, this is such a good scene. And then, like, it finishes with, like, her, like, they show you his body laying there, and, like, his midsection is open, and she's just drinking his blood.
Yes.
She's just drinking his blood. Like, it's so violent, but without showing too much. It's such a great kill, and Megan Fox's acting is genuinely terrifying in this scene. Like, give the woman her flowers. Her acting in this scene is scary.
Fantastic.
You know, because she is just like she's starving. She's essentially a demon that is starving. She needs to eat.
She needs to eat.
Her eyes change to that white, and she's just like, when she says those lines, like, I need you frightened, I need you hopeless. Like, you know she's enjoying this. Like, I am feeding off of that fear that you're giving me right now. And I can't wait to talk about this movie.
It's such a perfectly casted movie.
It is.
Like, Megan Fox was just the perfect
She
fit.
did such a good job. But I cannot wait to talk about this movie, because that scene alone, that you guys see how passionate I am about her role in this movie, her acting, because she destroyed the scene.
So good.
And it was scary, it was violent, it was cool, it was everything you would want in a gory horror scene. So if you haven't seen this movie, you should watch it.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Absolutely.
All right, your number one, Gina.
My number one. This is the scene that got me into, like, I guess, like, liking kills in horror movies, I guess. But it's the final kill in You're Next, the blender kill, when essentially, like, she goes ahead, she plugs the blender in, and just, like, takes it and shoves it into the guy's brain and just makes a smoothie with his brain.
Just the bottom part of the blender.
Yeah, it's the blades. And she just, like, goes ahead and just, like, you know, makes a strawberry banana smoothie in his head, basically. But, like, it was that moment, like, me and, like, everybody else in the theater, because it was, like, my whole freshman class for college, and we were like, what? And I was like, this is freaking sick! And I don't know, like, something awakened in that moment, I guess.
It was like, oh, this is cool, yeah.
I'm like, this is freaking cool.
They had some creative kills in that movie. It's a very good movie.
They did. It's
Next is a very good movie.
I feel like it's very underrated.
It's a highly underrated slasher movie.
Yeah, and that's a movie with, like, the perfect final girl. In my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, like, essentially that's the gist of it. She's just like, you know, we're at the end here. I don't want to give too much away because there's a twist.
Because it's like a plot twist.
Yeah, there's like a total plot twist going on in this moment, but just know that this final kill is just A1. Yeah. It's delicious.
It's beautiful.
Get yourself a smoothie.
No, I'm good.
What is your number
talking
one?
About food, we're moving on to. I'm sorry, I'm ruining this for you because I don't know if you've seen this movie. If you've seen Fear Street,
I have not seen.
Okay, well, I'm ruining this for you, but it threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Now, I called it Better Off Bread. And for those of you who've seen this movie or even heard about this, because you might have heard about this scene if you're in the horror community, because it took everybody by surprise. The bread slicer scene. The bread slicer scene. So first things first, I grew up reading the Fear Street books, and they're not violent, they're not gory, they're very teen drama. It's like an episode of Degrassi but with monsters.
Yeah,
like that is the Fear Street books. So when I heard they were making Fear Street movies, but they were rated R, I was like, how are they gonna do that? I was really thrown for a loop. I have a love-hate relationship with these movies because I really don't like the majority of the characters. I love the gore. I love the violence. I love the lore. They did a really good job with the lore, but I'm not really a big fan of the characters they chose to focus on. And they killed my favorite character in one of the best ways, but I was so mad that they killed her because she was so great. So Kate's a cheerleader. She's also a cheerleader that pushes pills. But she's very like nice, and she's the only one that makes sense throughout the entire movie because she's like, yo, we got to get rid of the girl that you're like in love with, to the main character. She's like, because the monsters were all after her. So she's like, you got to get rid of the girl, like, you know. And the whole time she's like, we just throw her out there, her out there, let them. That's what they want. They want her. But of course, the main character's like, no, I love her. No, I can't do it. I'm like 17 and I'll never find anybody again in my life if I let this girl go. And so it's like, of course. Yeah. So eventually Kate is like, all right, we're going to stage like a trap for these monsters. We're going to bring them all to the farm, the grocery store where the stoner guy works. And we're going to fend them off while you quote unquote like kill the girl that has the curse. Because they figured out the only way to stop the curse is if the girl dies. So while they're essentially making this girl OD, like they're giving her a bunch of stuff, like the main character is giving this girl a bunch of stuff, the other three kids have to fend off the monsters. So she gets into a fight with this guy. We're going to call him Skeleton Man. He's in a skeleton Halloween costume looking thing. Skeleton Man. And she is actually tearing him up. Like, she is beating him. And you're like, oh, I was like, my girl's going to live. She going to live. She going to see the sequel. Like, yeah, here we go. He turns on the bread slicer. And I'm like, what's he doing? And he throws her on the ground into a cake, on the conveyor belt, into a cake. And pushes her through the bread slicer slowly. And you watch as her head comes completely undone. Everything goes flying. I was like, I did not expect that amount of violence in a Fear Street movie.
That's nice.
It is so gross,
That's
so
nice.
bloody, so gory. And I was like, and people were like talking about it for weeks after the movie came out because everyone was like, this is R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
They don't do that stuff in his books. Like, his books are not like that. So I'm like, how'd they get him to agree to do this? Because that was, and it's like, you know, the whole movie is bloody. There's lots of stabbing, shooting, like things like that, you know? So you see a lot of blood, you see a lot of, you know, I say gore, but not like organs, you know? But then you just have this scene. And it's like, where did that come from? Like,
really different than
and out of all three of the movies, that is arguably the most amazing moment in the entire entire series, just gore wise. Just like for gore hounds, that's the moment that'll do it for you. And I'm describing it now, but I'm sure even when you see it, you're gonna be like, wow, that is violent. I mean, and I was sad because I really liked her character and I wanted her to make it to the sequel, but she did not. So, but if she had to go, she won in the best way, the worst way, but the best way for visual. Like, I was like, because I was not expecting. I just was going, oh, what's he doing with that bread slicer? And then I thought he was going to go through it, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to work because, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then, like, I was like, okay. And then she went through it, and I was like, oop. So we had 2 food-related kills at the end.
Delicious. You have your drink and you have your entree.
you have your side, your bread.
Yeah, your bread. Bread's an entree for me.
True. But yeah, so that is the 5 best kills in any horror movie for the both of us.
Heck yeah.
Let us know what yours would be, what you would pick. If you liked any of these, you know, what you would also pick in this situation. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good list.
That was a good list. That was fun.
It's always fun to do things like that. That's why I like doing these fun topics, because, you know, it gives you a chance to like talk about other things. But yeah, so we have reached the end of the episode.
How do we do that? Oh my gosh.
We got through this one a little bit faster than the
other
ones. Getting a little bit better. That's because we had everything set up. We were ready to go. All right. But thank you guys so much again for listening to today's episode.
If you like what you hear and are afraid to miss an episode, you can catch us every Wednesday at noon over on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you choose to listen.
Catch up with us over on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dial H for Horror Podcast, and feel free to check out our Patreon for exclusive content under the same name. Once again, I've been Shay.
And I've been Gina.
Be safe out there, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Stay spooky.